Alright, it's going to be an excellent video today. Yo, what's going on, friends? Welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate, as always. I do really hope that, and welcome back to Chelsea News, which of course is your daily dose, your daily video of what's being said about Chelsea, brought to you by yours truly. I give you my thoughts on it, but as always, more importantly, I ask for yours. We're looking at new kits. We're talking about superb Champions League performances from teenagers that are coming to Chelsea in Kenda, and of course, Satpaev again. Ben Chilwell speaks about what his exit on from Chelsea, how his relationship with Maresca and the owners is. Nizar Kinsella did a BBC article. I'd urge you to go and check it out, but I want to read quotes from Ben, because of course it's a huge talking point. The Noni Madueke hate. Of course, he scored a Champions League goal against Bayern Munich last night. Lots of social media culture wars. Should we be hating on Noni? I don't think so. Anyway, we'll talk about that. A little bit more on Maignan. Sky Sports from Switzerland, I believe. Why Switzerland for a French player? I have no idea, but they're apparently saying we're back in for him. You know, in the wake of Rob Sanchez playing well, the story erupts again. And then, if we have time, at the very end, we'll speak about Jacob Steinberg's piece on Cole Palmer's return for potentially the Arsenal game. Wicked! It's going to be a wonderful Chelsea news video, mates. I'm so glad to have you here with me. We are, of course, comfortably over 200,000 subs now, so if you want to join the fun, please do consider dropping a like on this video. It sort of helps us content creators out. There's the hype button down here somewhere to hype it up. Apparently it helps me. I don't know how, but I'll be grateful if you drop your hype points. And of course, if you subscribe, hit the bell notifications icon so you get notified when my upload is uploaded. You can, make sure you're one of the first to view it and you keep updated with all the Chelsea news. Right, let's get into it. I want to show you this mock kit for the third Chelsea shirt next season. I don't know why they've edited the Oracle sponsor wrong, because if that does ever get across the line, it will be a temporary sponsor for the remainder of this season, or who knows, maybe there'll be a longer term deal. But as you can see in this edit, it's a really good looking kit. I must say, I love the trim, I love the neckline, the color scheme, and of course, for a third kit, I do not at all mind the old school Chelsea badge. Nike, as well as other kit manufacturers, going quite retro with a lot of kits. I mean, I must say, we were in the sort of trenches for a long time for football kits, and I think I really like the new ones, a lot of them. I like this sort of, how they're different, they're like old school throwbacks, how some are modern, and I find myself buying a lot more Chelsea kits lately than perhaps I used to 10 odd years ago or whatever, so I'm pretty pleased about that. It's at SW6 Daily and CFC Carefree who produced that mock-up. It looks pretty good to me. I must say, if that is the third kit for next season, I'll probably be buying it. Anyway, I just wanted to start off with that because I thought it looked cool. Let's move on and speak about some high-performing teenagers. So, yesterday in the Champions League, Sporting played at home against Club Brugge, and Giovanni Kenda registered a goal and an assist. This is a high-profile game for the teenager. Club Brugge, of course, drew 3-3 with Real Madrid, and they are a formidable opponent for a young man. Also, you can see on the screen, Datsun Satpaev, I believe that's how you say it, excuse my pronunciation, scoring for his Kazakhstan Kairat, the only player to get a green rating on SofaScore, as you can see here, of his team. He is a 17-year-old striker. Now, first off, let's speak about Giovanni Kenda, because he does look really, really good, and you could say if Chelsea are supposed to be playing, all these prodigious prodigal sons of football in, your Stevau, this teenager, there's maybe a vacancy on the other side. Of course, we've seen pretty decent performances from both Jamie Gittins and Alejandro Garnacho, but of course, both being 21 years old, you're sort of waiting for them to settle and explode more, and we all recognise they're not the same level of raw, natural, God-given talent as, say, an 18-year-old Stevau, but there is, a huge amount of excitement around Giovanni Kenda, and of course, come the summer when he joins, you can evaluate both Gittins and Garnacho, and despite both of them joining recently for a lot of money, maybe there's a thought there that Chelsea sell one already after 1 year. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, it sounds silly, but it sounds like the recent Chelsea ownership in terms of they're happy to sell no matter what. So maybe one goes and Giovanni Kenda comes in and he's a really good option for Enzo Maresca, who's demonstrated and proven he has no issue playing youth because of course he manages the youngest Premier League side at the moment, and he will start the likes of Estevao against Barcelona. So yes, who knows, Giovanni Kenda could be an incredibly important player for Chelsea next season moving onwards. Now, Datsun, the striker, he's 17, he's even younger, is a very, very fascinating and interesting case. Of course, we've spoken about this recently. I don't know how to feel because I am a huge believer of Noni Madueke, the 17-year-old Academy Chelsea striker who plays at under 21 level and already has made appearances for Enzo Maresca's first team. That's a bit like we've got this superstar at home. Of course, we've got other young strikers in Maignan, who's a teenager as well, and of course, Liam Delap, who's looking like finally he might be settling in. He wears the number 9 for Chelsea. I think that's the plan. You find a way to get Liam Delap firing, and you've got a profile that really helps the players in behind him. I mean, Nico Jackson will be sold. Of course, he featured for Bayern Munich again. He's playing he's getting minutes, but I don't think he'll go to Bayern. But I think Chelsea will sell Jackson and make a profit on him. And let's not forget, like I often do, about Emmanuel Omega, of course, the striker that's joining us in the summer from Strasbourg. And yeah, I mean, how's Daston going to fit in? I mean, he's really highly rated. He's playing on the left wing yesterday. I'm just quickly going to have a look at his transfer marked sort of position profile. Yeah, it says his main position is a striker, as I thought, and as we've been sort of reflecting on him as a centre forward, but he can play on the left. For me, personally, as a 17-year-old, he's playing in Kazakhstan, do you know what I mean? And I know he's scoring high-profile games in the Champions League, which is great for a 17-year-old. I mean, it's amazing, and he starts for his country, unsurprisingly, being that talented. But I think he's got Strasbourg written all over him personally for a loan, especially because Omega's coming to us. Maybe he goes and replaces him at Strasbourg. Who knows, but very exciting. I mean, if he keeps just constantly scoring and being too good to deny, by the time he's 17, 18, 19, maybe he does wind up at Chelsea. Now, speaking about Strasbourg, we're going to jump over now and read some quotes from Ben Chilwell. He did an interview with Nizar Kinsella of the BBC, and here are some of his quotes regarding going to Strasbourg, the ownership at Chelsea, and Enzo Maresca, the Chelsea manager. Chilwell said the following: "My relationship with the Chelsea owners have never been bad. They've always rang or messaged. They go to a lot of Strasbourg games, so we're cool and we give each other a hug. The only thing you can ask for in football is honesty. And I've never had anything against Enzo Maresca. I told everyone how much I respected the fact that he was honest, because at least then I could go, alright then cool, I'm not wanted. Of course I wasn't happy with the decision and I didn't agree with it, but I respected it." Nizar writes, one of the reasons cited for Chilwell's exit was his unsuitability to Maresca's inverted fullback role, and Chilwell said the following: "I definitely feel like I suffered from it," he admitted. "I also completely knew that I could have done that role. I played centre mid until I was 12, even with Thomas Tuchel when we played in a back three, I was making runs into the striker position, or because Tony Rudiger liked to drive with the ball, I'd go inside. I was able to do it, I just didn't have the opportunity." Yeah, this is really interesting. I said this before. In his highest scoring moments, Chilwell at Chelsea, he was making those inverted strikers runs going on the inside and finishing at the back post. He looked really good, but obviously that's very different to actually playing a more of a sort of pivot role. I do kind of see his strengths more as a fullback, wingback, so I kind of always understood it. In Maresca's perspective, he was always transparent. When he first arrived at Chelsea, Enzo Maresca, he said really positive things about Chilwell, saying, we feel really bad for him, like he's just not in the plans, I don't see him as like... He was very, very straight shooting early doors, Maresca. He didn't sort of say maybe. I mean, Raheem Sterling might be feeling a little bit more like he's been played around with, but Chilwell, Maresca was straight shooting, and he sort of recognised he's like Reece James. He was a Champions League winner. I think he was the vice captain for a while. Am I incorrect with that? With Pochettino, maybe? Not entirely sure, but I think he knew how important Chilwell was to Chelsea and how much of a good guy he is, like the way he speaks and represents. And I love Chilwell, it's great. So it's good that everyone kept honest, and he's gone to Strasbourg, who are a good team. They're a good team. Liam Rosenior convinced him to join. Apparently he did have options to go to other clubs, But he spoke to Rosinia, who's quite a charismatic guy, and I can, understand how this guy convinced Chile to go up there. And I'm pleased. It's good to hear from him. It's good that he was platformed to basically say, look, I wasn't happy. I reckon I could have played the inverted fullback role, but he was always honest with me, and, we all understood each other from the beginning. So it's kind of nice, and I'll only ever wish Ben Chilwell the best. Right! Let's speak about another former Chelsea player and talk about Noni Madueke. So, being interviewed after his Champions League goal and win 3-1 at home against Bayern Munich, Madueke spoke about facing Chelsea. He said this: "I can't wait. You go 8 weeks without doing the thing you love most in the world, so you are chomping at the bit just to be on the pitch." Of course, he's been out injured. First versus second. They've got a top team, we're a top team, so it's going to be a good game. Now, Noni's been taking a lot of heat. This is the classic thing when a player goes to a rival. I've got absolutely no beef with Noni Madueke. No beef whatsoever. In the same way, I've got no beef with Havertz. I know Havertz sort of says, I love Arsenal more than I love Chelsea or whatever. Or he said it would mean more to win the Champions League with Arsenal. But that's where your current employment is. This is where your team lies. I always said Havertz owes nothing to Chelsea. He's not a Chelsea fan. He's come to Chelsea, won the Champions League. Chelsea decided they wanted to sell him. We made good money on him, and he's got big wages at Arsenal. We made a massive profit on Noni. Stevo's come in his position. Neto's playing ahead of him. He was going to be third choice winger at Chelsea, and we made a huge profit on him. Look, you see in the culture wars, Chelsea fans are starting to dig him out, and of course, it took him 8 games to get a goal or assist or whatever, and they're using that as a stick to beat him. He's a good player, Noni. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mind selling good players to rivals, provided we make a big profit on them, and they're not great players. You're not selling what we would deem the untouchables, like your Caicedos, your Fernandezes, your Cole Palmers, your Stevals. I mean, I wouldn't even like selling good players like Neto, but for me, Noni, who's got a high ceiling, who's just the highest level that I'd be. And same with Havertz, provided you make lots of money. Mason Mount defected from south to north, blue to red. Even maybe a Chelsea boy has gone to Man United. I can understand a little bit more of the sort of needle towards Mason Mount. But Noni, do you know what I mean? He's just he's hustle, he's trying to do his thing. He came through the Tottenham Academy, yeah? He landed at Chelsea and said Chelsea's the biggest team in London. It's easy, it's not hard to see that. And then, he realised his best career move was Arsenal, so now he's just hopped off to Arsenal. He's just doing his thing. I've got no beef with him whatsoever. He's a great player. We made loads of money on him, and it's fine. Do you know what I mean? It's up to Chelsea to be better than Arsenal due to their team building and having better players. Ultimately, guys, we got to understand, if we are in the business of generating revenue through player sales, which clearly is the plan, in a climate where we don't even have the new stadium yet to bring in the same revenue as our rivals, that's a huge, advantage the rivals to Chelsea have, bringing in revenue. Of course, it's entirely our own fault that there's no sponsor, but, that's just a sort of farce situation, really. And if you want to sell these players, of course you could try and sell to Saudi. Players don't want to go to Saudi. They want to stay in the Prem. And fortunately, there's loads of money in the Prem, so you can sell Noni Madueke. You can flip him for nearly double the amount of money you bought him from, provided you sell to a rival. I'm totally okay with it. It's totally fine. I've got no beef with him, but I just found it interesting and I wanted to speak about the hate because I see it all over the gaff. It's rivalry, I know. He's ex-Chelsea, he's gone to Arsenal. Maybe it's because I'm a little bit older or whatever than some of the people throwing around the abuse, but whatever. I wish him all the best, but not on Sunday and not, if it helps them win the league. But I hope he gets a few goals and has a nice time and plays well for England. Right. Let's move on. All right, so I'm going to read this article by Sasha Tavolieri, who's actually a well-known journalist, respected journalist, speaking about Maignan on Sky Sports. Now, this is a translated article, so do forgive me if it sounds weird. Chelsea are accelerating behind the scenes. The London club are actively working to reorganise their goalkeeping department with a clear objective to pave the way for a rival, Maignan, whose situation at Milan has rekindled the Blues' interest in recent days. A vacancy. Philip Jorgensen is the first to be affected. To accommodate a new number one goalkeeper, Chelsea must simplify the current hierarchy in goal. Among the options to be considered, the departure of Philip Jorgensen is being seriously examined. The young goalkeeper signed with the future in mind. He could leave London to make room for a world-class goalkeeper, a profile the Sporting management has been seeking for months. Right, pump the brakes. okay? For a moment, yeah, Rob Sanchez has been playing well. That's the sort of big thing here, right? There's a few things to consider. Firstly, Jorgensen does want to go in January because he wants to get into the Denmark national team for the World Cup. Apparently, he's been told, leave Chelsea and go and play, and then you can hop aboard the plane, mate. So he'll be despo to go, firstly. Secondly, Rob Sanchez, even before this good form, said, I just wouldn't be a second goalkeeper at Chelsea, I'd leave. So there's that. Do you know what I mean? He's already talking about trying to win the Golden Gloves this season and all the clean sheets he's getting, and rightly being praised by a lot of people. I've been very public and firm on my opinion that I'm open to my long-term opinion being changed by Sanchez, but at the moment I'm thinking, good for the good form, but thank you for the good form. It looks like you're in good form, but ultimately, like, I'm not convinced yet. And we all wanted Mike Maignan. Of course, Chelsea were reluctant to pay, like 30 million quid for him. They wanted to pay 18 million because he had 12 months left in his deal. I kind of respect it. It did frustrate a lot of Chelsea fans, but we're kind of okay now. Let's read on. According to our information, Chelsea have reopened contact with Mike Maignan's representatives after learning the Frenchman does not want to extend his contract with Milan. This unexpected situation opens the door wide for interested clubs. The Rossoneri are aware of the risk of losing their goalkeeper without a lasting solution, are already preparing for different scenarios, but Chelsea appears to be the most determined club, and apparently playing in the Premier League is a childhood dream for Mike Maignan. Juventus are also interested, but apparently Chelsea hold the advantage. Well, apparently we know that we actually agreed personal terms with him last summer to join as Chelsea goalkeeper, and he said he wanted to leave, hence not extending with Milan, but of course we can agree a transfer fee. Now, personally, I think Bayern Munich should be all over this. They're playing basically a 40-year-old Manny Neuer in goal, and if you look at the Martinelli goal in the Champions League last night, the way he ran out, I think they'd do very well to sign a 30-year-old superstar goalkeeper in Mike Maignan. Of course, it doesn't surprise me at all that Juventus is trying to sign him, keep him in the league. But I don't know how to feel about this, because, by the way, we're going to end on this. I'll do the Cole Palmer thing maybe tomorrow in the match preview. But I genuinely don't know how to feel, because Mike Maignan, it means we could probably sign him on a free in the summer. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe, you know, Sanchez gets his entire season at Chelsea. Maybe he plays really well. Maybe he gets called up for the Spain national team for the World Cup. Maybe, you know, then he goes and gets a big move to a top 4 La Liga team or something, and that's the plan, and Chelsea bring in a free transfer of Mike Maignan. Or maybe Jorgensen leaves in January, Mike Maignan joins in January because Milan desperate to get some sort of fee. Maybe they agree a 10 or 15 million pound fee with Chelsea to sell him mid-season, and he comes in and Sanchez just rotates with Mike Maignan. It's very hard not to get excited about new, shiny, like high-profile signings. And Mike Maignan would represent that. And again, I'm not convinced by Rob Sanchez yet, but Sanchez is 3 years younger than Mike. And he is playing well. We have to be fair, man. And I quite like the little bit of needle he's coming out with, slagging off Yamal. Not that, you know, I've got any beef with Yamal. He's an amazing young player. But it's all part of the fun and theatre. I mean, he's slowly winning me over, but I mean, if you sort of put me on the spot now, before January transfer window, which is just over a month away, and said, you can swap Sanchez for Mike Maignan, I'd go, ooh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Whereas a few months ago, I'd be like, hey, do it, mate, do it. And now I'm so confused. But hey, I sort of begrudgingly, I say reluctantly, but uncertainly trust the sporting project. And if they really think that's what they need to do, and it's a bit hard to get, you know, down on signing Mike Maignan to Chelsea. What character he is as well. But let me know your thoughts. We'll end it there. Please do comment down below. As always, very grateful for you for supporting this content by liking, commenting, subscribing, hyping, sharing. Go on, put the hard yards in, mate. Other than that, I hope to see you back here soon. Take care of yourselves and enjoy the football. Yeah, peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.